The Cosmology of War, Part 2, The Trigger and the Watchers. In Part 1, I showed you the Mars cluster. 5 actors, 1 2-degree band, the same fire, the serpent's blood already entering the water at Alphard's degrees, and Regulus beginning its handoff toward the warrior degrees through the south node. Now I am going to show you what pulled the trigger. And then I am going to take you into the oldest judgment system in the sky, the 4 royal stars, the Persian Watchers, because they are watching this war from the same civilization that gave the world its first cosmology, its first army of light, and its first vision of the final renovation. A solar eclipse landed at 28 degrees Aquarius, directly opposite the Mars and Leo cluster, at 26 to 28 degrees. An eclipse opposite your natal Mars is a detonator. It activates the warrior, the aggressor, the capacity for destruction. It pulls the trigger on whatever Mars has been holding. Within days, the strikes began. The eclipse illuminated the karmic field in which the war was already loaded. The light hit the opposite wall and showed them all standing in the same room. And that eclipse carries a lineage. To understand why this particular eclipse pulled this trigger at this moment in history, you need to understand something most people were never taught. That eclipses are not random events but members of living families, returning on precise cycles across centuries, each one carrying the same relational question back to whoever is standing at the activated degrees. In astronomy, eclipse families are tracked through Saros cycles, sequences of eclipses separated by approximately 18 years, each one the descendant of the last, each one carrying the same geometric relationship between Sun, Moon, and Earth. The Babylonians first mapped them on clay tablets as the Saros, a precise repetition of relational geometry every 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours, the morphic memory of how the Sun, Earth, and Moon return to the identical alignment near the lunar nodes. Edmund Halley later named the pattern Saros in 1686, yet the knowledge was already 25 centuries old. Each Saros is a living family of 70 to 87 eclipses, unfolding over 1,200 to 1,300 years, beginning as faint partials at one pole, deepening into totals or annulars as the shadow path migrates, then fading again at the opposite pole. The geometry evolves slowly. Gamma shifts, lunar distance modulates, the path drifts westward, yet the relational question returns unchanged. In Persian cosmology, this same sky language flows into Ahura Mazda's ordered light and Mithra's unbreakable covenants. The sun and moon's precise return is the visible binding of cosmic law, the royal choice written in shadow and light. The February eclipse belongs to Saros 121, and the March eclipse to Saros 133. The same families active during every major Iranian threshold of the last century, and the same lineage that accompanied Kennedy's assassination in 1963. Kennedy's Gemini sun met the question of narrative control under the same sky geometry that now meets Trump's Gemini sun in Cold War II. The field does not repeat events. It returns the identical relational question to new souls standing at the same degrees. Days after the eclipse, Saturn and Neptune met in exact conjunction at 0 degrees Aries. The conjunction I showed you in Part 1, the reset at the resurrection degree. The eclipse pulled the trigger. The conjunction reset the operating system. Mars delivered both to the men whose charts were waiting to receive them. That is the architecture. And the intelligence that designed it is planetary. Now I am going to show you the layer beneath all of it. The layer that was present before the eclipse, before the conjunction, before the war. The layer that will be present after. The oldest layer. The Watchers. The 4 royal stars, Regulus, Aldebaran, Antares, Fomalhaut, form the living cross of the sky. They are the brightest stars in their respective constellations, and for over 5,000 years, they have been recognized as the guardians of the 4 cardinal directions. They predate every empire that has tried to claim them. They predate every religion that has assigned them angels. They are the sky's own architecture, 4 sentinels stationed at the seasonal turning points, watching every civilization that rises and falls beneath them. And they are Persian. This matters more than it might first appear. The civilization now at war at the lion's degrees, Iran, ancient Persia, is the same civilization that gave humanity its first systematic cosmology, its first vision of a universe designed by an uncreated intelligence of pure light and harmony. Their stars are watching their own descendants being bombed. Their cosmological architecture is the lens through which this war must be read. The royal stars were named and codified in the Buddhishan, the Zoroastrian text of cosmogony and cosmology that describes the structure of the created world. To understand what they are, you must understand what that world was created to do. In the beginning, according to the Buddhishan, Ahura Mazda, the wise lord, the uncreated radiance whose intelligence is cosmic harmony, brought forth the universe through 7 successive creations. The sky as luminous firmament, then the primordial waters, the great sea, Vurukasha, then the earth, the plants, the animals, humankind, and finally fire as the visible spark of divine light within all matter. And over the stars he appointed 4 chieftains, not as passive sentinels, but as active commanders in the eternal struggle of Asha, cosmic order and truth, against Druj, the lie, the spirit of chaos and destruction that is the adversary of all creation. They do not observe, they judge. They were the first army, fixed in the firmament, so that when the lie arrived in the material world, the creatures of light might be saved from their antagonist. Aldebaran was Tashatar, linked to the deity Tishtria, the rain-bringing radiance whose mythic battle against Apausha, the demon of drought and sterility, is celebrated in the Tir Yasht. Regulus was Venant, the victorious guardian spirit and warrior against evil forces. Antares was Sativus, the celestial commander associated with balance and the autumnal reckoning, holding the gate between harvest and descent. Fomalhaut was Haftarang, the sentinel of the winter solstice, holding the threshold where what has been dissolved must crystallize or be lost. These 4 rallied the innumerable stars as united strength so that Asha might prevail in the Getig, the material world of mixture where light and dark contend until the final renovation. These 4 chieftains were not appointed in isolation. In the greater vision preserved across the Avesta and the Buddhishan, they serve as the visible commanders beneath the 6 Amesha Spentas, the holy immortals, the first radiant emanations of Ahura Mazda's own uncreated being. Good mind, best truth, holy devotion, desirable dominion, wholeness, immortality. These are not qualities assigned to God from outside. They are the living attributes of the wise Lord made present in creation, the intelligence of cosmic harmony flowing into the material world through its own first expressions. The royal stars channel that light into the Gedig. Tashatar / Aldebaran carries the discerning eye of best truth. Venant / Regulus the protective dominion of right sovereignty. Sativus / Antares the illuminating balance of good mind. Haftarang / Fomalhaut the fixing wholeness that holds creation intact until immortality is restored. In this way, the stars are not merely guardians. They are the sky's own embodiment of divine mind, truth, devotion, and wholeness, made visible so that humanity, standing in the mixture, may choose Asha with the same intelligence that first spoke the universe into being. The watchers therefore do not judge from afar. They transmit the very mind of Ahura Mazda into the waters, the fire, the blood, and the children, so that every choice made now in the Gulf Alembic becomes a direct participation in the final restoration of all 7 creations to their original, luminous state. Yet the struggle is not distant or abstract. It is participatory, woven into the very fabric of the Gedig, where humanity was placed as co-worker with the Yazatas. In the Tir Yasht, the mythic battle between Tishtria, the rain-bringing radiance linked to Tashatar / Aldebaran, and Apaosha, the demon of drought and sterility, is not decided by divine force alone. Tishtria first weakens, overcome in the primordial sea Vurukasha, when human worship and righteous intention are absent. Only when Ahura Mazda offers sacrifice, and the people of the earth turn their devotion, their clarity, their remembrance toward the light, does the Yazata regain strength, prevail over the adversary, and release the life-giving rains that fertilize the 7 creations. The waters remember. The field is responsive. In this moment, with the gulf as living Vurukasha, the serpent's blood circulating through desalination intakes and food chains, and the refineries burning as alchemical fire, humanity stands not as spectator, but as active participant in the material mixture. Our collective choice, guardianship or domination, remembrance or forgetting, Asha or Druj, directly influences whether Apa-Osha's sterility and toxicity prevail in the waters, or whether the rains of renewal can still be called forth. The Watchers command their stations. We, standing at the same degrees, determine the outcome now. Around 3,000 years before the Common Era, when the slow turning of the heavens placed these 4 stars precisely at the cardinal points of the sky, they became the cosmos's own pillars. Aldebaran held the vernal equinox in the east. Regulus held the summer solstice in the north. Antares held the autumnal equinox in the west. Fomalhaut held the winter solstice in the south. They were not assigned to these stations. They were there, the visible anchors of creation's order at the exact moment the Persian cosmological tradition was being formed. Precession has shifted their tropical positions across the millennia since, yet the geometry remembers. The mandala endures. They remain the chieftains appointed at creation, watching every turning of the wheel, every test of Asha in the waters, the fire, the blood, the unborn. They are not 4 separate commands. They are one coherent intelligence of the sky, reflected back right now through the waters of the Gulf, the serpent's blood, and the Mars cluster at the lion's heart. The 4 gates are open, the gate of power in the east, integrity in the north, illumination in the west, verdict in the south, over the Gulf of Oman, over the desalination intakes, over the burning refineries, over the children whose epigenomes are recording everything. In the Western esoteric tradition, each royal star carries an archangel and presides over an alchemical operation, a stage in the transformation of base matter into gold, of unconscious suffering into conscious wisdom. These operations have Latin names, but their meaning is felt before it is understood. You do not need to know alchemy to recognize what each one is asking, because each one is something every human being has already lived through. These are not separate operations. They are interdependent poles of the same cosmic cross, each one requiring the others to complete the great work. And all 4 are running through this war and through the waters of the Gulf right now, because the Gulf of Oman is not merely a body of water. It is where the battle Tistria was appointed to win is being fought again. Aldebaran, Watcher of the East, Eye of the Bull, Alpha Tauri. Aldebaran carries Michael, the Archangel of Discernment, and presides over calcinatio, the purifying flame that reduces base matter to ash, so only the irreducible structure remains. Calcinatio is the refiner's fire. It burns away everything false, everything impure, everything that cannot survive the heat. And when it has finished, what stands is the calcium, the bone, the thing you are when everything else has been stripped. The refineries burning along the Gulf Coast are calcinatio made visible at industrial scale. The combustion plumes rising from every targeted facility are the alchemical fire asking, what will remain? This is also Tistria's domain, the rainbringer who must prevail over Apa-Osha, so that what the fire has calcined can receive the waters of renewal. Aldebaran was known to the Persians as the Eye of Revelation. Its judgment is integrity, the capacity to see clearly and act from what you see rather than from what you are told. Fail this test and the fire does not purify, it simply destroys. Courage becomes cruelty. The eye that was meant to reveal becomes the eye that rationalizes, and Apa-Osha holds the eastern gate. Regulus, Watcher of the North, Heart of the Lion, Alpha Leonis. Regulus carries Raphael, the healing archangel, and presides over rectification, the mercurial operation that separates toxin from virtue within the same substance, that asks which of the two will be drawn out when both arrive in the same vessel. In the Bundahishan, Regulus was Venant, the victorious guardian spirit, the warrior against evil forces whose station is the protection of the medicine itself, the one who ensures that what is meant to heal cannot be permanently corrupted by what intends to poison. Rectification is the judgment of the healer who looks at the wound and sees both the damage and the cure embedded in the same tissue. Regulus sits at the cusp between Leo and Virgo, between the king and the servant, between personal glory and selfless service, and its judgment is conditional and exacting. Power is given freely, but the king who cannot release the need for personal credit, who cannot become servant of the kingdom rather than its owner, suffers an eclipse. The fall of kings is written into Regulus as a conditional promise and an inevitable consequence, not punishment, but the natural result of the heart refusing to become servant. The Mars cluster at 26 to 28 Leo sits within Regulus's orb, receiving the South Node's handoff and the eclipse's detonation from across the zodiac. The royal heart of every leader in this war is standing inside Regulus's question: can the toxin be separated from the medicine? Can the cure survive when the pharmaceutical infrastructure has been bombed? Can the serpent's blood be rectified into healing, or will it write itself permanently into the water and into the children? Antares, Watcher of the West, Heart of the Scorpion, Alpha Scorpii. Antares carries Uriel, the Archangel of Illumination, and presides over putrefactio, the blackening, the decomposition, the descent where what cannot survive must break down in the dark, so that something true can emerge from what remains. Putrefactio is the judgment no one wants to face. It does not ask whether you are comfortable in the shadow, it places you there and watches. The oil decomposing in the Gulf waters, the PAH plumes dispersing through the water column, the molecular signatures of combustion entering the food chain, one trophic level at a time. This is putrefactio running at civilizational scale in the chemistry of war. This is Apaosha's signature, the demon of sterility making the waters unable to sustain life, the dark force prevailing in the primordial sea until righteous devotion calls the light back. Antares sits directly opposite Aldebaran across the zodiac, the east-west axis of revelation and descent, the gate through which souls pass between the visible and invisible worlds. Uriel's light does not comfort, it reveals. Its judgment is illumination without entanglement. Can you see the shadow architecture clearly? Name it? Look directly at what this war is doing to the water and to the children, without being consumed by what you see? Fail this test, and the decomposition does not birth anything new. It simply continues. Apaosha holds the field. Fomalhaut, Watcher of the South, Mouth of the Southern Fish, Alpha Pisces Austrini. Fomalhaut carries Gabriel, the announcing archangel, and presides over coagulatio, the fixing, the crystallization, the moment when what has been dissolved and purified is locked into permanent form. Coagulatio is the verdict. It does not negotiate. What enters Fomalhaut's mouth becomes the record, written into the sediment layer, into the epigenome, into the morphic field, into every system that follows. Fomalhaut opens its mouth in the Pisces waters, the age that is ending, and what is being poured into it right now is the chemical signature of this war. The PAH plumes, the petroleum residues, the pharmaceutical compounds from bombed facilities, the desalination brine carrying everything the filters could not remove. Gabriel announces, Gabriel fixes, Gabriel makes the record permanent. The judgment Fomalhaut renders is the most final of the four, because coagulatio does not expire with a ceasefire. The epigenetic changes are heritable. The sediment record is geological. The morphic field carries every registered choice forward as an available pattern for every similar system that follows. And Fomalhaut's test reaches furthest of all, because what is being fixed into form right now is not only the record of this war, but a marker in the larger timeline the Bundahishan maps as the 12,000-year cosmic drama, 4 successive periods of 3,000 years each. The first, a world of perfect spiritual creation in luminous purity. The second, the assault of Angra Mainyu, the lie, that introduces mixture and begins the Getig. The third, the open propagation of truth amid contention. And the fourth, our own, the intensified turning of choice that leads to Frascio Coretti, the final making excellent. In that ultimate renovation, the Saoshyant appears, the dead rise renewed, And all of creation passes through the river of molten metal that is Atar, the sacred fire of the seventh creation. Warm milk to the righteous who have chosen Asha, purifying flame to whatever still carries Druj. The sediment, the epigenome, the morphic record now being fixed in Fomalhaut's mouth, will one day flow into that purifying river. Coagulatio in the Gulf is therefore never merely local or temporary. It is a marker in the long turning of the wheel, either a step that hastens the restoration of creation to its original luminous state, or a delay written into the very chemistry of the waters and the children. What Gabriel announces now will be carried forward into the cosmic reckoning that the Watchers were appointed at the beginning of creation to serve. These 4 stars have watched every major conflict, placing the same royal choice before leaders and before humanity, running the same operations through different alembics. Regulus watched the execution of Louis XVI. Rectification demanded of a king who could not release the need for absolute sovereignty, the lion's heart refusing to become servant until the blade made the choice for it. Aldebaran framed the eastern gate of the American Revolution, calcinatio burning away colonial subjugation so that something irreducible could stand, the refiner's fire asking what remains when the false authority is stripped. Antares held the western axis through the Pacific theater of World War II, putrefactio at civilizational scale, imperial passion decomposing in fire and ocean until something that had been hidden in the dark finally became visible enough to build new alliances upon. Fomalhaut opened its mouth during the Gulf War of 1991 in these very waters, coagulatio fixing the petroleum signature, the depleted uranium, the burning oil fields into the collective body, and the regional epigenome for generations. The same circuit, the same 4 operations. Tested now in the Persian Gulf alembic where the fish drinks what the lion releases. And the lion is roaring. Israel's ongoing Operation Roaring Lion, stated objective, destroy at least 75% of Iran's missile launch capabilities, continues week after week at the exact degrees where its Mars is held. The waters of the Gulf are listening. Mithra, whose son once crowned the lion on Iran's flag, presides over this as he has always presided. In Zoroastrian tradition, Mithra is not only the god of light, he is the divine witness to every covenant, the Yazada whose presence sanctifies agreements and whose absence means no oath can hold. Every broken negotiation in this war, the Omani peace deal abandoned before the first bomb fell, the back-channel communications severed mid-sentence, the Geneva frameworks refused. Each one is a covenant broken at Mithra's threshold. The leaders carrying Mars at his degrees are fighting a war on the ground of the very god whose function is to prevent it. And the 4 royal stars codified by that same civilization are watching their own lineage being tested in the waters that once flowed beneath that flag. The central image of Roman Mithraism, the tauroctony, the bull slaying, is itself a map of the same sky the Watchers are guarding. Scholar David Ulanzi argued that the tauroctony encodes a precise astronomical star map. The bull is Taurus, the constellation of Aldebaran, the eye of the bull, watcher of the east. The serpent coiling beneath the scene is Hydra, the water serpent whose heart star Alphard sits at the Mars cluster degrees. The scorpion grasping the bull is Scorpius, the constellation of Antares, the heart of the scorpion, watcher of the west. The wheat sprouting from the wound maps to Spica in Virgo, the same cusp where Regulus, watcher of the north, hands its activation into Leo. The dog is Canis Major, the raven is Corvus. And the scene unfolds beneath the vault of the southern sky where Fomalhaut, watcher of the south, opens its mouth in the Pisces waters to receive what the sacrifice releases. The initiates who knelt before this image passed through 7 grades of ascent. The 4th grade was Leo, the same degrees where every leader in this war carries their Mars. At the Leo grade, the initiate's hands and tongue were purified with honey rather than water, purity of action and purity of speech as the threshold condition. Not force, not dominance. The willingness to let what you do and what you say become the same thing, in service of something larger than personal power. That is the initiation the Lion's degrees have always demanded. The men roaring Operation Roaring Lion at 26 to 28 Leo are standing at the same threshold the initiates knelt before 2,000 years ago, and failing the same test. The Persian mystery religion and the Persian royal stars are one tradition, because they both arise from the same cosmogonic root, the intelligence that designed the sky as battlefield and alembic, as witness and verdict, as the living architecture through which Asha and Druj contend until Frashokareti is reached. The bull's blood flows, the serpent drinks, the scorpion stings. The watchers hold the four gates of the sky open, chieftains still commanding the starry host, waiting to see what passes through. The gulf is Vorukasha. The prima materia is already in the water, the reins are being fought for again, and the verdict is being fixed into form as you listen. This is part 2. In part 3, I will show you the men behind the men, the shadow architects whose Pluto in Leo fuels the visible warrior's Mars. I will show you the Gemini-Libra mirror that connects the visible war and the shadow war through the same zodiacal pair, and the Cold War mirror that connects this moment to Kennedy, to Apollo, to the space race, and to the corridor of history repeating itself under the same Uranus in Gemini transit that has accompanied every American convulsion for 250 years. The watchers are still watching. Stay with me.